I'm sorry. Hello, welcome. So basically, I'm gonna go over how I've lost 150 pounds in 11 months naturally. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. I have not had surgery. I'm not following any specific program. Um, it's just been me. It's just been all me. And that's such a proud accomplishment, right? Because that's the thing with weight loss. You can't give credit to anybody else but yourself, right? I'm gonna put this lower. Hang on. So anyway, so yeah, 11 months. I started off at 307 pounds. You can't do that math. I now weigh 157. I have another 7 pounds, maybe a little bit more, to go till I get to my goal weight. But I thought 150 pounds. That's enough to talk to people about that. Obviously, I know what I'm doing a little bit, right? I have not been crash dieting. I have not been doing anything like extreme, or what I would consider extreme. So yeah, I'm gonna get right into the nitty gritty. I've never said that before in my life. Being in front of a camera brings out a very weird side to me, at least. But anyway, so I actually wrote things down because I recorded this yesterday. I spent like hours recording this. I looked all cute. I had my nice camera, and I was just off the rails. Like, I just didn't make any sense. So I'm gonna try to stay as focused as possible. So what everybody, not everybody, but what majority of people who ask want to know is how I got started. How am I doing it? What am I doing? If there is a secret, there is no secret. The secret is stop believing that there's a secret, because it's the hard work. That was aggressive, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So I started off at 307 pounds. I now weigh, did I already talk about it? Did I already say this? I started off at 307 pounds as of January, the beginning of January. And I now weigh 157. So it's been a little over 11 months. And yeah, I've basically done a complete 180 with my life. Last 22 years of my life, 23 years. I turned 23 in April, so that's why it's like 22 and a half years. I've spent completely unhealthy. I've never been active. I've never had a good relationship with food. I've never, what's the word? I've never been into sports. Like, I've never lived a healthy lifestyle. I really haven't. You know, as a kid, grew up relatively healthy, but it was just more me. Like, I just loved to eat. I was obsessed with food. I still kind of am. And yeah, I just continually bad habits, relying on food. I was an emotional eater. So yeah, so that's been going on. So yeah, so majority of my life, that's what I know. Just bad habits, bad everything. And so I've always dieted, yo-yo dieted since I was like in 3rd grade, I want to say. You know, lose 5 pounds, gain 10, you know, and then it's just this unhealthy just wave. And then the past, let's say 5 years, in high school I was really big, but after high school it just progressively got worse. And the last, I don't know, 2-3 years of my life, I was like bedridden almost. Like, I literally would just eat and be in bed. I had like an indentation in my bed. I broke my bed at one point. Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with like mental illness. I have bad anxiety, depression, all of that jazz. But this year I decided to change my life and lose the damn weight. And a lot of people ask how I started to get motivated, like what was my driving factor. I wish I had like one thing that I could pinpoint it on. I was kind of unaware of how big I was, so that really wasn't it. Like, I knew I was big, but like I didn't know how big I had gotten. And I don't know. That's the thing. Everything kind of just started to snowball into what it is now. So how I started was small little changes, because once I got on the scale at the beginning of January and saw that I was over 300 pounds and that I had 150 something pounds to lose, I mean, I was overwhelmed, to say the least. I think that's how most of us are. We think it's fucking impossible. So I was like, forget it. I'm not gonna look at the weight as being the only thing that I care about in this scenario. You know what I mean? Like, the weight may come off, but I need to focus on getting healthy, and I need to focus on being a better version of me. And I know that sounds like cheesy and like fake inspirational. I don't know what you want to call it, but it is what it is. So yeah. I forgot where I was on, like on a roll, and then my brain just completely shut off there. I love that. But no, so it was basically like I knew what to do, you know, I knew what not to do, what to do, but I didn't know how to stay consistent, and I didn't know how to not fall off the wagon, because what was always happening was I would fall off the wagon and then I would fall really hard, and then it was impossible to get back on. So it was like, I need to learn how to maybe have a cheat meal or maybe have a bad day and still get on track. That's what I wanted to learn, because I knew after failing so many times with diets that what didn't work for me. So it's been years in the making, really. I mean, it took 11 months for the weight to come off, but it's taken years of preparation, really, like honestly. Years of failed dieting, years of, you know, eating way too, like last year alone, I was probably eating I don't even know. If I actually sat down and calorie counted how much I was eating, it was probably between 5,000 and 8,000 calories a day. I was eating fast food 5 to 6 times a week. Now I feel like I'm going too fast. I'm sorry. I was eating fast food 5 to 6 times a week, alongside soda, liters of soda a day, no water, no exercise whatsoever, not even going for walks, not even really walking in the mall. I feel like I did a lot of online shopping, like nothing, like no, like I probably got like maybe 1,200 steps a day, 1,200. Now I get like 15,000. Like, it's just been complete 180, like I said before. And so like I said, I started off small steps. So I started off every week I would make some sort of achievable non-scale goal, right? So I cared about the scale. I weigh myself every day. I still do. I know that's not good for you, but I still do, just so I know where I'm at. You know what I mean? It's not so much that I let it determine my mood or I let it determine anything really. I just, it just keeps me on track. And I don't really, like, I care about the number, but then again, I care about everything else so much more. But yeah, so I knew that I had to break the habit. So I started off every week. Was like, okay, we're going to just slowly, you know, you have a whole life of these bad habits. It's not going to be overnight. If I sat there on one day and was like, no pop, no fast food, I'm going to work out 5 times a week for 2 hours a day. I'm going to, you know, and then I'm going to go for walks, and I can take my dog for a walk every single day. And then I'm going to, you know, completely cut out carbs, completely. Like, if I did that at the beginning, I would have lasted 4 hours. No, it's not. You can't approach it like that. You have to slowly build down all of the shit that you build up all these years, right? And form new habits. That's the thing too. You can't just get rid of the old habits. You gotta start new habits. Because I'm a very habitual, I think that's the word, person. And yeah, so it was every week. I would sit there and okay, week 1, no pop, no soda. Just drink water as often as you can. You don't have to drink a certain amount. Just drink water when you can. And cut back on the fast food a little bit. All right, cool. Week 2, sign up for the gym. You don't even have to go. You don't have to go. Just sign up. And again, stick with the no soda. So it was like adding things to what I was already doing, right? So cut back on the fast food, no soda, sign up for the gym, right? Isn't there a game when you were a kid, like they went around the classroom and you had to like add on, you know, it's like a Anybody know what I'm talking about? That's kind of how I approached it, right? So every week it was like keeping what I already had going and then adding a little bit more changes to my life. Eventually the gym became a huge part of my life. I loved going to the gym. I still love going to the gym, but I fell in love with going to the gym, which is crazy because to get my ass into the gym was the hardest part about this whole journey, was the hardest part about this whole thing, because I fucking hated the gym. I hated the people there, even though I didn't know anybody. I was just so self-conscious. I had no idea what I was doing. I was out of my element. And I was like, you know what? Just fucking go. Just walk on the treadmill. Like, just do something. Just do something. And that's what I did. So, you know, people were asking what I did for workouts at the beginning. Walk on the treadmill. Walk as often as you can. Sometimes if I'm not in the mood to work out, I just walk. Still to this day. It's such a great way to build your endurance. It's such a great way to get those endorphins up, to get the weight going. Like, walking is such an underrated exercise, I feel like, or maybe it's overrated. I think it's underrated. I think ever since I've started putting on my Fitbit and tracking my steps and everything, that's when everything started really, really, really like moving for me. Now, of course, I do more than walking, and I did more than walking, but the first like 2.5 months, maybe 3 months, I was just walking on the treadmill for an hour. I started off at a 2.5. I remember a 2.5 at a 1 incline. I was like winded, like I just ran a marathon. And, you know, eventually it was like, all right, we did a week of 2.5, let's move it up to 2.7, you know, like, let's get a little bit faster here. Let's move the incline a little bit up. And every week I would just, and I still do that to this day, where I'm like, all right, you know, now I'm running. Now I run a mile for a warm-up, and I'm trying to get my mile down, you know. It's like everything has I'm a very competitive person, and everything has kind of been a little bit of a competition with myself. Like, I'm a little bit like, you know, oh, you did this last week, well, I'm gonna beat you this week, you know what I mean? Like, and it's been fun, it's been challenging, but it's been fun because it keeps me engaged, it keeps me motivated, it keeps me going, because every week there's something I want to accomplish by the end of the week. And I've never looked at it like that. Like, I've never approached it like that. Like, I was always like, oh, this week I'm only down, you know, a quarter pound. No, like, this week I was able to get my running time down 2 minutes. Like, that's fucking amazing. Like, you know, a few weeks ago I ran a 5K, at the gym. I ran 3.1 miles on the treadmill. And I did it in like 35 minutes. And I wanted to get it down under, I think, 40. Or I wanted to get it under 35 minutes. And I got it like to 34 or something. And I was so fucking proud of myself. Like, I was like, I couldn't even walk on the treadmill 11 months ago, and now I'm running 3.1 miles straight. Like, I ran that whole time. Like, that's what I'm proud of myself for, and that's what keeps me motivated, is like that feeling of achievement, and that it's like a high. It's like a drug, honestly. So that's what keeps me motivated. That's what's kept me consistent, is these little small goals. Because, again, it starts snowballing, and you're not even being very conscious of the changes you made. I think about the way I was living before, and it would be harder for me to live the way I was living before than it is for me now. Because once you start going, like, a body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest stays at rest. Like, now it's hard for me to relax. Like, I've had that problem since the beginning, really, is like, now I have a hard time just sitting there watching TV. Like, I'm like, I could be doing something else. Like, I could be, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that's really how I started. I started incorporating calorie counting in terms of food. I'm not on any specific diet, but through like trial and error a little bit, I started doing low carb, not keto, but low carb. Just trying, I use MyFitnessPal, and it gives you all the macros that you're supposed to be eating a day. I don't know where they get that science from, but it's been working for me. So I always try to stay a lot lower with my carbs, a lot lower with my sugar, and I always try to hit my protein every single day, whether that be, I think there's called convenient protein, like protein bars or shakes or whatever. But I always try to hit my protein, and ever since I've been doing that, I want to say I started doing that with like the 3rd month, when I was already down about 50 pounds, I started getting a little bit slower and slower with the weight loss, and I was like, well, let's try changing things up. So yeah, so that helped immensely. was just like figuring out, okay, I remember I would make a sandwich every day on, I don't remember what kind of bread, some sort of bread, and I started cutting out the bread and just making lettuce wraps, and it was like, oh, I lost 6 pounds this week. And it was like crazy how fast I was dropping the weight. And I will say, I never intended to lose the weight this quickly. I always thought, okay, if I'm going to focus on the weight, it's probably going to take like 2 years at least 2 years. And then it just was like dropping real fast, which I know is probably annoying to hear for some of you if you're struggling and you're like, the weight's not coming off. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be like annoying about it, but it wasn't anything that I was doing that. I think when you stop focusing on it, it happens. It's like they always, who's they? I was going to say some quote, but I don't even know what I was going to say. But yeah. So those little goals, those little things led to just everyday just changes. And I was consistent. Like I started off working out 5 times a week. I was like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. Just walking on the treadmill 5 times a week. I made the time every week to do that. I was consistent with making my goals. I was consistent with drinking my water, which is I drink 4 of these bad boys a day. 4 liters of water a day. And it's not hard. Like, like always having this next to me is like, I don't think about it. Like, I didn't think about it until right now. Like, it's just, I need more water. But it's not even a thought. Like, it's just, I always have my water next to me. Like, after work, I go to the gym. And yesterday I didn't go to the gym. It was my off day. And I started heading towards the gym on my way home because I'm so, like, it's just so routine at this point. But it does take work to get there. So, my first 50 pounds I lost pretty easily when I started getting more strict about the calorie counting and more strict about the gym. The weight started coming off. And I started just falling in love with everything. I felt like I started liking to cook more than I like to go out. I started really doing more at the gym than just the treadmill. I started doing more cardio, more weights, whatever. And it became, I want to say from I think I got to 50 pounds down at the beginning of May. From that point until the beginning of this month, really, I was full blown, it was my life. The Biggest Loser. Have you ever seen that show? I'm sure a lot of you have. It was like that. It was like I'm doing this. I love this. It just felt so good. And it was what am I going to do this week? What am I going to, and the dedication and just, friends would call and be like, you want to go out this weekend, whatever. And I was like, no, it's okay. And I'm going to go to the gym instead. I'm going to, instead of drinking and empty calories, I'm going to go to the gym. Or you want to go out to dinner? No, I'll meet you for coffee or something later. Because a lot of things I realized were out of my control. And I realized that being in an environment that I couldn't control when my habits, I guess, or my, those old habits weren't completely broken yet, it was hard for me to be around certain things. We always have family events, and there's always us sitting around a table, and there's always food all over the table. And it got to this point where I was I'd sit there for a minute, talk a little bit, and then I would separate myself. Because I realized I didn't have the control that I needed. And over those past months, I gained that control. Now I can sit there, and now I don't give a shit. Now it's whatever. I always saw my aunts and stuff, and they'd be passing around cake at a birthday party. And, my skinny aunts would be like, oh, no, thanks, it's fine. Effortlessly say no to cake. And for me, I'm if I say no, I'm going to regret it. But if I say yes, I'm going to regret it. I can't win in this situation. So it was hard for me to say no. It was hard for me to, I don't want to use the word deprive, because I always felt good. I always felt better when not at the moment, because of course you're I want that fucking cake. But after the party or whatever, I didn't leave with regret. I didn't leave with, oh my God, I shouldn't have had that. So it was just getting into that habit. Now I go to family events and I'm I don't care. I don't need it. Whatever. And even if I do have it, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I don't care at this point. It's just not something that's an obsession. So kind of getting out of the obsession with food and the obsession with the control, and you have to kind of take a step back. I will say though, I am fortunate enough where I don't have a ton of responsibilities at this point in my life that I couldn't dedicate my life to this. Like, I don't have kids, I don't have a husband, I don't have a boyfriend. Like, it's just me. So if I had to take a step back and be completely selfish for a few months and reevaluate things and really work on myself, I could, and I'm fortunate enough. And I know there's so many people out there who can't, who have other obligations, who can't. But you can still work on yourself while being there for others. You don't have to do what I did and completely I kind of isolated myself in a lot of ways. Now I'm just like working my, like, oh, hey guys, it's me. Because now I'm transitioning into maintenance mode, which is awesome. But it took months of hard work and so much dedication. Like I said, after that, the beginning of May, when I started getting really, really into it, I was at the gym probably an hour and a half to 2 hours a day, 6 times a week. I would bike to the gym, I'd walk to the gym, or I would walk here. I'm a nanny, so I would walk with the kids. Like, it was like, or I would do some sort of workout while they're napping. They're napping right now. Should I think one of them just woke up? Oh, I went back to sleep. Awesome. So anyway, so I would walk with them here. I'd take them to the park. Like, I was just always active, and you know that burns a lot of calories, which the science of it is you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. So if I'm eating a lot less and I'm doing a lot more, the weight's gonna come off. So you know, I know a lot of people say that it's unhealthy and it's whatever, but I just had the means to do it where it was my number one priority. And I know a lot of people don't have those means, and I know a lot of people don't have the time, and they can't dedicate their whole life to it, and that's understandable. But you can still make it a priority. Just because it's not your number one priority doesn't mean it shouldn't be a priority. So, you know, that's really it at the beginning. That's really been it, is MyFitnessPal, the water, finding foods that work within what I know will come with weight loss. So, you know, I eat a lot of turkey, I eat a lot of mozzarella cheese. You know, I've just picked up on things. You know, the calorie tracking, I learned a lot from doing Weight Watchers so many times. It's basically the same thing. Tracking your food, being accountable for what you eat. Track everything, okay? Even if you didn't want to eat it, even if you know you shouldn't have ate it, track it. Because it keeps you accountable. When you act like things don't happen, when you act like, oh, yeah, I had a few Oreos, but it's fine. Like, I worked out. Like, no, like, fucking track that shit, because you need to be accountable. You need to know, like, this is what I'm doing. Because there are some times when even, like, if I hit a little bit of a plateau, I'll look back and I'll be like, what am I eating that's different? And that makes a huge difference, too. So, stay consistent. Plan out things. You need to be a little bit more organized. I used to write things down in my planner all the time. I don't do that so much anymore. Like I said, I'm kind of like leaning my way out of the whole, like, this is a process and this is what I'm, like, so strict with myself, which I'm proud of myself. I am, because I'm a very, like, who cares type of a person. Not really. I'm kind of a neurotic mess, but we'll save that story. We'll save that therapy session for another day. But, yeah, and it becomes a lot easier once you stick with it, once things become routine, and you're consistent and everything. And just stop worrying about the number. Please. I always thought I'm going to get to 170 pounds. I don't know why 170. And my life was just going to be complete. There was just going to be Mr. John Hamm waiting at the door for me, and, you know, all of my debt was going to be paid off, and I was going to be graduated from college, driving a Range Rover, and life was just going to be swell. And I got to 170 pounds, and let me just tell you, everything was the same besides the number on the scale. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing was the same. That was a fucking bold-faced lie. no, everything was different, but my circumstances were the same, is what I'm trying to say. I'm still broke. I'm still single. But I have a grip on things, I feel like, a lot more. I feel like I deal with things a lot better than I ever have in my entire life. I feel like I deal with things. I think that's the first and foremost, that's the difference. And, you know, I don't rely on food for my answers or for comfort. It's, all right, I got to deal with this. I become such a stronger person mentally and physically. I don't know why this finger, two things, mentally, physically. I've become such a stronger person, and I like who I am now. And I don't know why I just got emotional saying that, but I didn't like who I was for a long time, and I feel like I hid behind my weight for so many years, and I used it as an excuse as to why I wasn't going anywhere with my life. And now it's like, I fucking did that, so what's next? Like, I did something, you know, a lot of people would find impossible. I fucking did it. I can handle anything. Bring it. Just kidding. I would probably have a nervous breakdown, but I do it, you know. I do it. I'd handle it. So yeah, I think I said my weight at the beginning. So yeah, that's basically my story. I got it under 30 minutes, which is what I wanted to do. You know, again, I gave you my tips. I know calorie tracking isn't for everyone. I've had people people tell me that they've become obsessed with calories and it becomes a little bit unhealthy, and I get that. I'm not completely obsessed. When I'm in an environment that I control, like for lunch, I had cauliflower rice, and I had the whole package of cauliflower rice. I know how many calories that is. I can scan it. I can put that in. I know how much. I put a little mozzarella cheese in there, measured how much, you know, I had control over that. But there are certain things like dinner. I don't really make dinner. I still live at home. So, you know, those things that I can't really control, but it's okay because I knew I did well during the day. I just don't have a huge portion of something. I have a little bit of something. And if I want a huge portion of something, that's okay too. Like, it's all about finding that balance. It's finding what works for you personally, because what works for me could not work for you. So yeah, that's that. I think I went over everything. I think how I got started, staying consistent, and staying motivated, or in exercise. I wrote down exercise. The first thing says no plan. I didn't have a plan at the beginning, like I said earlier. But yeah, I think that's it. If you want to know more, I have an Instagram. You're probably here for my Instagram. That's why I made it. Because it became difficult to like type out this whole thing. But yeah, if you want to know more, if I could do like what I eat in a day, I don't know. Like I could do workout videos are kind of like, I get really nervous about working out because I know people are so like, you're doing too much cardio, you're not doing enough weights, you're doing, you know, that doesn't do anything, that machine doesn't do anything. Like, I know people are so like knowledgeable with working out. I'm not a fitness guru. I'm not a health guru in any way, but I'm trying. I'm not trying. I just am sharing. That's, you know, that's why I made my Instagram to begin with, is because I felt like people who were actually successful with weight loss were mythical creatures. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just dig my way in there and be like, all right, here is a real bitch. And then I looked around and I realized, oh, they're real people too. So I don't really know what my point of that was. If I can do it, you can do it. How many times are you sick of hearing that? Fuck that saying. But you can do it. If I can do it, that's just the way it is. So, ew. Oh my god, ew. Okay. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. Thank you for watching. If you have any I can make more videos. I guess I can. There were other questions I got that I didn't directly say because I'm already at 30 minutes and that would have been a shit show. So, So yeah, I'm just living my life. Okay, all right. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day, night, wherever you are, and hope all is well.